Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Picadian.
Jared Brandon in Tennessee.
Hey everybody, it's Todd. Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show,
As always.
where we spotlight boutique builders of gear.
What?
Yeah, guitars, amps,
Is that what
pedals,
the show's about?
doodads, whatnots, thingamabobs,
I thought we talked
etc.
about knobs.
and movers and shakers, people that are, getting us to listen to the things.
Higher ground. Taking us to
Demos
higher
and
ground.
such, influencers and whatnot. Anyways,
How I would say it.
if this is the first time you're listening, welcome. If this is the 121st time you're
Or
listening,
the 256th
or the
time.
well, more than that,
Maybe the 275th time.
if it's the 288th time, no, this would be the 289th time. 89 times. Yes,
Wow.
289th time you're listening.
That's a lot.
Then you deserve some kind of treat for yourself. Go grab some ice cream.
Especially if you heard the first episode.
Yes. We've got a great addition to the crew tonight.
John Esterly with Rare Buzz Effects.
Right
My
on.
man.
And then our actual guest. Go ahead and introduce you, actual guest.
Hey, I'm
You're
Zach.
going to have to lean in on the mic.
None of that.
I
Don't be afraid of
am
it.
Zach Holloway. I'm with Zero G IOD.
Zero G. You said IOD.
Implements of Destruction.
Implements of Destruction. Okay, great. And those, for the layman, are pedals and such. Yes, good. Okay, just so we were clear on what exactly you're making. So that other people don't all of a sudden call some kind of government hotline or something. Yeah, so we've got Zach, and it's cool because he's a resident of the city of Columbus. We tried to do this on the last episode, and it didn't really work
need to
out that
look
well.
that up.
I know, we got to sort it out. I'll talk to the mayor.
Columbusonian.
Well,
Ooh, I
and,
like that
and
one.
for the greater,
Columbustonian.
there's an Ohio builder, right? And so we love spotlighting Ohio builders.
He's an Ohioan.
He is an Ohioan. That's
Right.
that one we all know.
We can agree.
Ohio.
All of you out there who are like, we don't care. We're moving on. Don't worry. So let's. We got a couple of announcements real quick. Oh wait. Before we
What?
start, where can people check out what you're doing, Zach?
ZeroGIOD.com. Instagram at Zero G IOD.
Zero G IOD. All right.
Implements of Destruction.
I lost my pen.
Implements of Destruction.
All right.
I gotta say it with.
Yeah. What?
Implements of Destruction.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Like a Jack Black
An
version.
80s action commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
pretty
a-
much like a toy, action toy commercial. Yeah,
Transformers.
yeah. Okay, let's not. That's a whole other thing. Let's. We got a couple of announcements.
Roll.
That's right. We need to thank Rode Mics for supplying our audio equipment, in which not only all four of us in the studio, but all five of us. Jared's using some Rode equipment in Tennessee.
Right. Yep.
So
Well, it
thank
works
you.
in Tennessee.
It does. All the way. It's a long cord. The impedance is just terrible.
Ultra low.
Yeah.
Ultra
I got
low
a-
impedance.
I got an adapter. It works good.
Yeah, if you're in
All good.
Tennessee, you got an adapter.
An adapter. That's right.
Yeah, so anyways, we want to thank Rode. Thank you for supplying all of our gear. We truly appreciate it. If you are a content builder and you're like, I need camera mics or anything that you need to make content, it's pretty much they're starting to cover that. That's from an audio perspective, of course.
But what about if you just want to put a podcast together?
That is content
Yeah.
creation. That's lumped in
Oh,
the
is that
greater
what that's called?
whole of that, yes.
I never realized we were content
Indeed.
creators.
Now I have two pieces of announcements.
That's all, folks.
Yes, that I wanted to share, and one of them is very exciting for a specific person on the podcast.
Me?
But first, we'll get to that in a second. But first, I caught on guitar.com, it says Digitech teases return with Blues Brothers clip. And it says,
What?
we're putting the band back together, and it had a Digitech logo on the little clip. And it was, the Blues Brothers.
Saw that.
Now, specifically,
Gonna have a tough time with Belushi.
specifically, specifically guitar.com
Jim will do it.
showed the Whammy, the Carcosa, and the Freakout. Now, those are all readily available in mass in the used market.
Still.
Right? So my question kind of would be to the group is like, if they're putting it back together, does that now this was recently sold? Digitech has changed hands several times over the last couple of years, but it was just recently bought by a South Korean manufacturer named Court. So Court now owns whatever Digitech was.
Okay.
There's no real back inventory that we're aware of.
Probably not.
Not much. So what exactly does that mean? Are they going to put out new pedals under Digitech? John, have you heard it? You're acting like you know you got the inside line or something.
I cannot comment publicly, but when the podcast is over, we can have a discussion about it.
Okay. Okay.
John's building them
Yeah.
Well,
one at
I
a
wish
time.
that were true. Yeah, the backlog's going to be terrible, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Forget about the
I guess the
thing,
bigger
right?
question though is like, would you, if you are acquiring this, would you go back and just make all the old pedals because they're already like, pedals have sort of a weird life, you know? What do you think, John?
I would say, so I'll use the Whammy as an example because I think that's the one that a lot of folks associate most directly with Digitech. I think there will always be a built-in demand for that pedal. They do have kind of a shelf life in the used market just because part of it moves, and anytime something moves, stuff breaks.
Right.
So there is a limit to how long they last, and I think for the most part, your average user would choose a new one if they had it available to them. Unless they wanted, there are some people that have a certain love for, version 1, version 2, version 3, version whatever, however that
5,
plays out.
as I understand, is the one to have.
But if you wanted, if
It's the
you're
latest
not
one.
beholden to that, I would say that.
Zach,
I think 5, was the latest
you
one.
need a
yeah, 5, I think
you
was the
can move
latest
that
one.
microphone towards where you're sitting there, pal.
They do have articulating arms.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tony, you want to help him out if you need? If you
I'm
need,
good.
you got it. You got it. Okay. Good.
Articulate it.
Yes.
Articulate it.
But no, I think there is, particularly for the examples that you gave that they show in the article there, that there is a demand for those products that probably exceeds the used market.
I think they're trying to capitalize on whatever the '90s wave is right now. I'm just saying, putting that out there in the world.
That's not the worst idea.
But by the time they get all geared up to do all that, is that going to be a thing? Not poo-pooing, just no poo-poo. Just
It's a
check,
good
just
question. It's a good
asking a
question.
I mean, I think it would be
like
a
it.
good
I like
idea. It would be a good idea if they could offer a pedal that had the original voicings, and then as an option, you could change the settings or whatever, or maybe a switch that they could
Yeah.
make some improvements. Because I mean, I've owned a number of Digitech pedals over the years, and they were not always in the same league. Many of their pedals were not in the same league as, at the time, like, Ibanez, MXR,
Yeah.
some of those things. So I think it would be kind of cool if they offered original voicings and then maybe with a flip of a switch or a couple of flips of the switch, whatever, they could offer some improvements because obviously chip technology has gotten better from what they were doing in the 90s. So I think there might be some options that
Yeah.
they could do that.
Well, it's worth mentioning too. It's not just Digitech. It's the other this is the web of ownership and sub brands and everything for this is crazy. DOD, who makes Carcosa, and obviously a lot of other pedals, that's lumped into the major buy because Digitech owned that. So
I think they should really just focus on putting changeable modules into guitars.
oh yeah, there you go.
I think there's
Well-
definitely a market for that.
What you were saying before is like the Wazacraft with the Boss, so they could do their own
Right.
Yeah, true.
implementation of that.
True. If they offered something new, I could see where people would want to get the nostalgic, vibe for it.
They do have a few like really rare stuff, like the space station, the old. It's like I think it's like a multi-effects unit, but
Yeah.
some people So
Yeah.
they're really awesome.
The multi-effects units are boy, there's a graveyard of those things. Gee, many Christmas. It's crazy.
I have one that works.
Yeah.
I had a GSP-5. It's a rack mount unit, and when I was about 16 years old, I used one because my older friend lended it to me. I couldn't afford to buy one, but I used it for a long time in my band, and then recently I got nostalgic and I found one, and it works. It works fine. It works just the crummy way it did years ago, when it was even old when I got it years ago. So it's just, all it is for me is just a nostalgic. It just has nostalgic value. I don't really.
So you're saying
plug
it's
it all the
nostalgic?
time. It is, but it's not something I would use or even consider using today, especially not live. It's really difficult to navigate. It's not easy unless you use like 1 or 2 or 3 settings. But if you want to use it for multiple songs, it'll just get confusing, and it's just way too complex.
Yeah.
Would you say it's
Set it up.
nostalgic?
Nostalgic. Nostalgic.
Well, moving on.
Nostalgic.
This one's for Jared.
Nostalgic. Yeah.
It sounds Polish when you say it that way.
Nostalgic.
We all know who Jared's 2 favorite bands are. Well, maybe Zach, you don't know, but you're going to find out real quick. Kansas and Heart.
What?
Kansas and Heart
Yeah.
are Jared's basically 2 favorite bands. And guess what?
They're touring together.
Nope. Nancy Wilson of Heart to sell used gear on Reverb, including the SG used to play Barracuda. Jared, you better put your house up. You better mortgage that thing. Yeah. So here we go, guys. It says Heart's
I'll just
Nancy
have
Wilson.
Gibson buy it.
Heart's Nancy Wilson is selling gear she used to perform the band's hits, such as Barracuda and Crazy on You. Beginning October 19th, fans will be able to purchase her used gear from the official Nancy Wilson of Heart Reverb shop, which includes a collection of over 24 items, including guitars, amps, and keyboards. Most prominently, Wilson's Gibson SG from the late 60s with a giant U.S. Marines sticker on it. A huge. Covers almost the entire back of it. It's going to be... I'm curious to see how much that's going to go for, because that's going to be... That's going to be nuts, yeah.
Lots.
I guess she's just throwing in the towel and that's it. Just not performing anymore, or just wants to sell all the gear because she just wants to relax and retire. Like
I feel
That's
any
all
other
very
recent
specific for a
rocker would.
very general type question. Yes,
Didn't she just participate in something?
many things.
Well, I mean, I swear I just saw a video of her playing with like.
Oh yeah, she played with Pink.
That's
Pink-
what it was,
Pink
yeah.
sang that with her on stage for Taylor. Was it Taylor Hawkins?
That's what it
thing?
was. She
Yeah.
was at the Taylor
Oh,
Hawkins.
that's right.
Yep,
Yeah.
Anyways, bling blang blong. That's all.
I saw Nancy Wilson.
If you want to know
through
more about that, you can go to guitar.com and check it out. But
glass window.
what?
I saw Nancy Wilson in Cleveland at the Rock Hall of Fame while they were interviewing her.
Yeah.
And Chris O'D and I were in the hallway, but there was just a window instead of a wall that you couldn't see through. But I mean, I suppose I could have just rapped on the window real hard and said, "Nancy, look at me, I'm a fan." But I didn't. I was just respectful and just looked, and I thought, man, I'm this close to her, and I'm not going to be able to talk to her. This sucks.
I'm glad that there wasn't a wall that you couldn't see through. Then you wouldn't have been able to see him.
I know. I saw Nancy Wilson.
You could have had X-ray specs.
Yes. Anyhow, let's move on. So, Jared, that one was for you. I saw that and I said,
Thank you.
Jared's going to be excited about that. And I'm sure, I'm curious
Well,
if
what
you're going
about
to try to
Kansas?
purchase anything. There's nothing for Kansas.
Okay.
No,
that we know of.
Actually, they didn't have sought after gear.
The
I mean,
Kansas was a red herring I produced at the beginning as
It
a
was a
diversion.
true. That was a definitive
Yes.
red herring.
Definitively it was. All right, what's going on in our music worlds this week? We need to find out from Tony. Then we're going to check out our friend Zach Holloway.
Two things, Todd. First of all, a couple of weeks back, we were talking about Louis Cato who is now the band leader on the Tonight. Keto! I love that. On the Tonight Show, or not the Tonight Show, sorry, Late Night with Stephen Colbert.
Keto, you fool!
Anyhow, and I was saying at that time, I was always looking at the guitar that he was playing, and it was a Japanese Ventura Les Paul, more or less custom.
Okay.
Things that that were not terribly expensive guitars up until fairly recently. And then I noticed he still had that one on a stand, but over the last couple of weeks, he was playing a black Telecaster, which of course was not, it didn't say Fender on the headstock, it said Tokai.
Uh-huh.
So this was another cool guitar. And if you remember, we were talking about, well, geez, if Gibson was smart, they would probably offer him an endorsed guitar.
An endorsement if you're in Tennessee.
So about a week or two ago, he comes out with a red, like a 61 SG.
Really?
Yes, Gibson. And so Stephen Colbert says, "Oh, I like your red guitar, Lewis." And he says, "It's a Gibson, And he says, it's red. It's a cool guitar." So I'm wondering if maybe somebody slipped them. Jared, do you have any intel on that?
I don't really know the artist relations staff very well. They're great at what they do. I'll give them that. And it seems like 2 or 3 artists out there that I wanted them to connect with. They did since I've been there. Maybe they can read my mind. I don't know.
Well, that's
the dude
cool.
from Greta Van Fleet, the guitar player from them, we grabbed him.
Jimmy Page?
And
Whoa,
we already have
Jonathan
Jimmy
Singer
Page.
right there. Oh my goodness.
No, we already have Jimmy Page. So now we have we have the young and the older Jimmy Page. And we
there
also
lies
have,
the
it
conundrum.
does.
Wrapped it in an enigma.
They're absolutely a legitimate,
Yeah,
good sounding
for
band.
sure,
I'm
for
glad
sure,
they do
for
what they do.
Doing it.
Did they sound Led Zeppelin? Yes.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, we have
And
established that.
also the guitar player on Yellowstone. If I know we have some fans out here of the show that probably watch the show Yellowstone. There's an acoustic guitar player that is fantastic singer and player, songwriter kind of guy, country guy, and we signed him too. So it's great. We actually we've got a great artist staff actually, artist relations. So.
That's awesome.
That's excellent.
Yeah, they work hard.
So the second thing I wanted to talk about,
Sorry.
in addition to that, sorry, Jared, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yes, it did.
In talking with, hobnobbing with my fellow guitar wizards, repair shops and things like that, everyone has the same complaint. Do you know what that would be?
Customers.
The cost of electronics, pots, switches, everything. I know this firsthand because I just placed an order to stock my shelves for like some right angle switches and some pots and things. And pots for 100 years were $6 list. Cost is 50% of that.
100 years or more. I mean,
They're
that
now over $8 list.
Yeah.
I prefer Switchcraft switches as opposed to the import ones. You can find some cheaper things, but things like an SG switch used to be $25-ish list. They're now $35 list. So they're like, everything is up 20-30% on most.
They're not going to lower the price. They're not going to lower the price after COVID.
Well,
and they're going to keep the COVID prices forever because they just are.
Yeah, but it's
And they're
it's
gonna
just
torture everybody.
But if you own a repair shop, and even if you just want to replace like a Strat 5-way
It's
switch,
hard to pass that cost on to the customers because they're not going to get
Well,
it.
yeah, most places would charge maybe $20 for a 5-way switch. The cost on them now, the list price on them is about $33, $34.
Wow.
Whoa.
So, it's getting expensive to fix guitars and to build guitars.
Yeah.
And even if you're buying in huge quantities, it's just getting. So that seemed to be the common complaint amongst guitar builders and repair shops that I deal with.
I got it. I got the next boutique idea. Somebody start building switches.
Oh my gosh.
There it is.
Revelation.
I could buy this $35 Switchcraft switch, or I could buy this $85 boutique switch.
Yes, because it's made in America
Oh,
with a guy with a leather apron and a
undercut 'em,
mustache.
20 bucks, 20.
Many Switchcraft switches are still made in the USA.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good to know. All right,
Victorian switches.
Zach, what's going on in your music world this week?
Oh, tomorrow
You've been here the whole time. I mean, it's it should not be a surprise at this point. But go ahead.
tomorrow I am rehearsing with a new band that I just joined.
Oh, cool.
Called Speak Seldom,
Okay.
and it's not something I usually do.
Tony was kicked out of that band.
Good.
I spoke too much.
Thanks for opening up the
But
spot
not
for me.
fast enough.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Please continue.
It's it's like a pop band, kind of pretty much. There's most of the tracks written on a computer or
Like Korean doom pop? Mm-hmm. Okay.
exactly.
Perfect.
But I'm much more used to playing like in a 3-piece like punk band. So I'm having a
So what does pop mean to you?
well, it's like it's more of like an electronic
Pop kind of has like
band.
a dirty word.
I don't know.
What I mean?
It's like I don't know, more pop than my other bands.
Okay.
So.
All right. So it's got a synthesizer in it?
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of synthesizer, a lot of computer written,
Like on a stand or with a strap?
probably on a stand.
Oh, okay. You could have gone the cool route and had a
Yeah,
strap.
yeah.
The guitar has just fallen so far from grace.
Yeah, it has. It has. So that's
right
cool.
up there with the
it's
Mandocello.
So would you call it like pop punk or pop rock?
No,
or
they're more like electronic. I don't know.
pop
how to-
electronica.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm playing guitar with that, and
Can you give us a reference band? Because every person in the audience is like, what does it sound like?
you go check them out on Spotify. I don't know what.
Reference band. Oh, you play in a rock band. Like what? Kind of Zeppelin-y. Okay. That's the longest amount of
Yeah,
silence we've ever had
I don't
on the
really
show.
know what to compare them
thought you
to.
had-
Wow, so it's totally new. Like Joy Division?
No, not like that. More, I don't know.
Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Really?
No, but
Not at all, but really.
He's like, you're just gonna please tell him to stop.
Favorite band, man.
I don't like
he's
being
done
on the
He's
spot.
done with his music.
God.
Just let him stop.
So you're playing guitar though? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hungry what the wolf.
What kind of guitar?
well, I was kind of thinking I'd get a new guitar for this band because
Oh, I like that idea.
What I'm playing in my other band is a Mustang, and
Uh-huh.
it's it's smaller, it's lighter, it's
So what do you want to get for this one?
I don't know. I'm maybe like a Strat or something because I'm doing more like kind of ambient sounds,
Cool. Okay.
a lot of reverb.
Nice. All right.
But I have a AC30 that I play in my other band called Sleep or Lack Thereof,
Sleep or lack thereof? Mm-hmm. Oh.
and that's just way too much.
I got kicked out of that band.
He drank too much coffee.
Oh, boy. I don't know why. Whatever.
But that amp's like way too much power.
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking about going to trying something solid state or
well,
or
for
taking
that,
something a lot smaller.
yeah. Yeah, actually.
Because there's like backing tracks being played and drums, so I don't need to.
You might
fill
even
out.
not even have to do that. Honestly, if you got keyboards and bass that are going direct, I mean, heck, you could go out of like just an all-in-one rig. Mm-hmm. That'd be kind of, like a head rush or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd
right?
be really cool. No amps.
I've got a trainer
Easier to
you
gig
can
with.
borrow. Trainer
Yeah,
TS20.
that's not. Have you been listening to what we're talking about?
I think
A
that'd be
trainer
perfect. Why
is
not?
the furthest thing away from
They're
that.
fantastic
Oh
amps.
my gosh. I don't disagree with you, but that is not the,
No, the
it's the
TS
same
is
thing.
it's a transistor amp, so it's
Yeah, he said he was looking for solid state. I've
Oh
got,
yeah, okay. Well, I was just talking about like
got
an
a
all-in-one
collection of
thing,
crummy solid state amps you can dig through.
how about Pavey?
Yeah,
I do have a PV
I got a
solid
great one. Yeah. Anyways, that sounds fun. Keep us abreast of what's going on with
Yeah.
that. Thank you, John. Please.
Well, I've got 3, but 2 of them are going to be just brief touches. So Got back from Vegas, back to Ohio Friday night. Got to see one of my absolute favorite touring bands, Sloth Rust, play up at Mahal's.
Wait, what?
Exactly, right?
Sloth Thrust?
That's exactly what they're called.
Is it like coleslaw?
No,
That you thrust?
They're a 3-piece power rock band. They're absolutely
really?
fantastic.
Huh.
Great show. In fact, I've
Could you
seen
spell
them.
that for us?
Is it Sloth Rust?
That is exactly how it is spelled and how it's pronounced.
2 words.
No, one word.
1 word.
Yeah.
So you could say Sloth Thrust or Sloth Rust.
Yeah, you could say it kind of however you'd like.
Okay,
I'm
all
not
right.
sure I hear the difference between those two things. But.
Yeah.
Well, sloth, rust, or sloth rust.
Yeah,
Thrust.
anyways,
I don't think there's thrust. I think it's rust.
Rust.
So it's a rusty sloth.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
that's what we were trying to determine. Okay, go ahead.
But so this is the 5th time I've seen them, and this was the best show that I've seen of theirs. Just really, really tight set, great. So
Nice.
they've got 4 shows left in the tour. If you have a chance, I think they're out east now. They got up
What
into
do they?
Canada.
Who do they sound like?
Joy Division?
No, not like Joy Division. They're kind of
Duran
hard to
Duran.
describe. So they've got a fairly new bassist. In fact, he's new with them this tour. The drummer and the guitarist, who are part of the original band, they both have a background in like classical jazz training. So you can definitely hear that in the way that their songwriting plays out.
It's like King's X or something.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but I mean, they're just kind of like
The Beatles?
sludgy, like power trio
Okay.
music. Yeah.
Sludgy power.
Yeah.
So Nickelback.
So Stone Cream.
That sounds like about right. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm glad you got to go do that. So
Got
what's
to
the other
see them.
stuff?
So the other thing, and Jared might be able to shed a little light on this. I don't know if it's public yet or not, but so I have been eyeing for a while now an Emily Wolf signature series Epiphone, and she posted a picture last week of herself playing what is very obviously an Emily Wolf signature series Epiphone, but it is not black. It is matte white. Still has the gold hardware. So
What's a Sheraton?
yeah, there seems to be some question of whether this is like
Kind of.
Kind of a
That's not a
prototype.
Sheraton.
it is
mean, it's
based
kind
on
of
a
a
Sheridan,
Sheraton.
but it's got the
It's like a Trini Lopez.
it's got the
Sheraton.
Trini Lopez diamond cutouts.
Matte
It's
black.
only got one
It's black
tone
and gold. I can
knob.
support that.
But yeah, so that is, I haven't really talked about it here, but that has been number 1 on my want list for a while. And if they offer it in white, I mean, that's pretty much going to be a done deal for me because I prefer a white car. Well, yeah, it's kind of wondered. But
Oh, wait,
I might need to make a trip down to Nashville to visit my good friend, Mr. Brandon.
But I still won't tell you.
That's cool.
But
So wait,
Hey,
is it
I would
matte
love
or is
for
it,
you to come down.
is it
Yes.
matte or is it satin? Or is it gloss? Am I just missing?
I think they just no, it is. It's not gloss. I think they describe it as matte black.
Yeah, it looks like matte, like a matte.
With gold hardware and but what I like about it is it only has one tone knob, and that is like it fixes everything that I don't like about Gibsons. Most of the stuff. So
You don't like the 4 controls?
I don't like 4 controls. I feel like that's redundant.
I agree.
I feel like even 3 controls is questionably redundant.
You like 2?
It
how
looks
many
cool though.
It does look cool. So, so those are my 2 quick ones. And then I guess I know you don't really like talking about like the stuff that we do that applies to the work that we do, but I think this
What are
is
you talking about?
I think this is a fun story that people will get a kick out of. So, I got some orders while I was in Vegas, and I was finishing them up yesterday and testing them. And so 6 of them were Fuzzba bombs. So I built one, took it over to the test rig, and tested it. And it made the volume louder, but it definitely didn't sound like fuzz. And I thought, man, there's something wrong with this. So I built another one, same thing. Another one, same thing. I get through 5 of these things, and all of them make the signal louder. And like the timbre control actually like makes a difference in the volume or in the tone, but it's not fuzz. So I get out my oscilloscope and I start chasing. I mean, I spent probably an hour messing around with this,
whole
chasing
hour?
the circuit. Yeah, chasing the circuit, and I'm like, at this point it looks like square wave. At this point it looks like square. I get all the way to the end of the circuit, and it's square wave coming out the volume pot. And I'm like, there is no way this isn't fuzz. So I go back over to the test rig, plug it in, still just sounds like a boost. Well, I look down at the loop pedal that we always use to send a signal in, and the volume on the loop pedals turn all the way down. And the fuzz bomb cleans up really, really well when you turn your guitar volume down. So I turned the loop pedal up, and there it is. There's a fuzz. So
that same thing has happened to me actually live. As I was setting up and setting up my rig with the HX stump, and in transport, the volume knob got turned back, but I never touch it, so I never think, there's a volume knob for that whole thing. And I was like, what's wrong with my rig? Not now, not now. And I'm looking, and I was like, wait a minute. And I looked down, like, oh, that's a volume knob. I didn't even know it was there.
So I guess
I'm so smart.
Let that be a lesson to everybody that, it is probably the stupidest thing that you could possibly run into that's causing the problem.
Mind your volume knob.
Mind your volume knob.
Oh man, how many times I build a pedal and test it and I didn't put the chip in.
Oh, I've done that more than once.
I put the socket in, but I just didn't put the IC in there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, now sounds great.
Yep. So, Jared, is there another thing?
No, I was going to say,
only
hey,
three?
Jared, do your thing.
Okay, Jared, do your thing, like John said.
So, yeah.
You doing sit-ups over there? What's going on?
Oh, I would be making a lot more noise if that was going on. So, been with Gibson for over a year now. Love it here, yada, yada. Been working on a thing. Finally, it came out last week and can finally talk about it. We took the pickups that we sell aftermarket and we created a new kind of not a totally separate business unit, but it's called the Pickup Shop. And that's where you order, aftermarket pickups. And we added a bunch of new products to that to choose from instead of the same old lineup you've seen for years. And we've changed some of our processing, the way we process things to, kind of get stuff out quicker and things like that. And we're just trying to streamline and better the process of selling aftermarket pickups. That's why they hired me. So we're working on that. So we do this video to help promote the whole relaunch of pickups, and I'm in it. And as the pickup product manager, I am in it. And since I got down here, I've just been overeating the brisket. So I'm kind of fat in this video. I mean, not kind of, I'm fat in this video and I know it. Like, it's just a fact. So the video finally came out and it's on YouTube. And the funniest comment, this guy said, "Holy crap, Jared Brandon looks like Tommy Boy." And he said he kind of like when David Spade told him that he didn't have much in his head. He kind of made fun of me.
Just squash him like a bug.
And I laughed and I laughed and I laughed and then I reported it.
Way to go, Jared!
Yeah.
Don't make fun of me.
I thought you did a good job. I mean,
yeah, you really did.
He's wrong. He said, "I have a small head, man. I wear size 8 hats. I can't wear regular size hats. I got a
by
giant
the rest
head."
of you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the angle. I mean, you have to shoot up so high.
Forced perspective.
Yes.
Yes, that's what that is.
I don't know. I laughed. It was funny though. So
actually, it's the lack of forced perspective. If forced perspective was applied to Jared, he would literally have the head the size of a giant beach ball.
Do you know what a good example of that is? Cinderella's castle.
Yes, that's correct.
So they use larger size stones towards the bottom, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller as they go up.
Smaller and smaller.
It's an optical,
It's an optical illusion.
Illusion, yeah. So we kind of focused on the fact that we use old machines that we've had for a long time. We have several of these old machines called Meteor 301s. It's one that I had. In fact, I sold them one of mine.
Oh.
So now they have even more Meteor 301s, but these we used for a very long time. And I was told that Seymour Duncan just recently highlighted one of their old machines as well that they bought from Gibson a long time ago. I think in response to our relaunch and because Gibson never talked about our winding machines before. They just never did.
Right.
So I thought that was nice, but.
Well, there you go. Well,
congrats,
Jared. It was nice to see you on the internets.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback on that. I was telling Jared last night, actually. Thank you. So many of you sent us messages saying, "Hey, did you see Jared?" And naturally we did, but I just love the fact that everybody reached out and did that because
thanks everybody.
Yeah, it was really nice because they genuinely were like happy to see you on that. And I think there's a sense of accomplishment, collective accomplishment and congratulations that we have for you slipping into that role, man.
We're accomplishing vicariously through you.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, thank you very much to everybody, all the fans that said those nice things about me. And it's like I was not joking around and being goofy for once.
No, you're being straight.
No. Good job.
It took like 45 takes.
And they finally got to break out the IMAX camera.
That's right.
Oh, God. Todd, what about you?
Well.
Briefly, if you can.
Yes, briefly. Well, so a couple episodes back, I mentioned that I got the Captor X, the Torpedo Captor X.
Yes. And
thinking that was going to be my solve-all, thing, and I started working on it. And I was really, I won't get into it now. I will probably at some point have a bit of a, like, hey, here's things I learned in doing this, so that other people don't end up, jumping out a window themselves too. What I did do was I did a test. I said, okay, I need to actually see what this is going to sound like completely. So I did a test from my amp into the Sennheiser 906E into the PreSonus into my Logic. And I did that clean, and I did it with the dirty pedal. And then I performed that same test then through directly into the PreSonus using some of the some of the sound things on Logic. I can speak, it's fine. On Logic, and
plugins,
the plugins. Thank you. That's why Tony's here. That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Thank you.
And then I ran it through the Captor, and my goal was I needed to have a completely blind. Like, what does this sound good? And because I'm so used to hearing certain things, and aside from it sounding, whether it sounded good or not, I needed to make sure that it wasn't a total utter hassle to use every time I wanted to. There's still some things that I am questioning, but overall, I had John of Relay, who I featured in one of our recent Instagram posts, which is hilarious and informative. You should check it out. It's got the Marshall amp on the front. It's actually really good. He talks about the microphones we're using to mic that actual cab. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, John, don't open your eyes, just listen. And he said, number 2, number 1. He just called out all the numbers, and they were all the Captor ones. And I was like, well, okay, I guess that answers my question. Is that sound going to be the good enough thing? My problem with it is, and this is what I need to help, I'm going to ask him to kind of maybe help me out, because it could just be a signal thing that I don't understand. But I can barely turn the amp up before it, before it peaks and goes red, and you don't want that to happen, obviously. So I'm like, well, how am I supposed to get my sound out of my amp without going into the red? And it turns out there was a ton of people complaining about that.
Oh,
so I was like, is that a thing with them, or is that just user error? Is it, so I'm trying to figure that out.
So it sounds like, so this thing plugs into your output of your amp, is that right?
It goes from it goes directly out of your, so it's speaker out into, not from your speaker, but from the speaker out
into The box.
output jack
Box.
out of your actual amp. You bypass the amp speaker if you're in a combo, or if not, you just go straight into the box. So it attenuates the amp, and it will also record directly into your
So it provides a speaker load,
right.
and it also attenuates, which
Right.
which
Well,
may
and
be in
then the
issue.
software, which is really cool, it also somewhat, is it overly complex? Possibly. That is cab sim, and that's actually one of the really neat parts of it, because you can go, you can either go crazy, or you can just say, hey, I'm just going to stick within this bunch of cabs, and play with the microphones. You get a set of microphones. It's a nice setup. It would be really easy to get lost in the options if you don't have a path that you're trying to follow. So for my purposes, the goal would be to say, when we get pedals shown to us, then I can do the 1 minute wonders and have them sound as true as possible to what I would be hearing in my room coming out of my Marshall or the Supro or a Fender or whatever. Anyways, it's just, the thing is, it's a chunk of change, right? Now, I believe, and it might only be for like a couple more days, maybe this is already out, but try if it already isn't out. Two Notes is doing $100 off the captor and a couple other products, and I think that they're also being matched the $100 off on like Sweetwater and all that stuff. But
cool.
Oh, wow.
if this is still there, check it out and see if you can get that deal.
All right.
So,
Well, that's cool.
Tony,
Yes, Todd.
I recently just put together a couple of remote switches for the HX Stomp to give to a couple of our patrons who also use the HX Stomp.
Now, when you say remote switch, what do you mean?
Well, it's a little tiny remote style box, like the size of a EP
Pack of
Boost,
cigarettes?
EP Boost size.
Oh, okay.
The smallest size. What's
mini
the size?
It's a 1590.
A 1590.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
1590, 1591,
Yeah,
whatever it
whatever.
takes.
That's the one.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
That's the one.
Anyways, so I built a couple of these, but the thing is, you can't just plug a regular patch cable into it.
Why
you
not?
have to have a TRS, a tip ring sleeve cable.
Oh, so you're using a stereo jack.
Well, it's technically a tip ring sleeve cable, Tony.
Oh.
But in effect, yes. So you have to have that in order to make that work. And it just so happens.
Well, which end needs the stereo, or which end needs the TRS? The
What?
HX Stomp or the pedal that you're building?
Yes.
They're both
Ends.
Both ends have it, you weirdo.
Oh.
Anyways, so my point being is that I made these, and I said, well, if I'm going to make these, it's going to be a real hassle if people have to go out and get their own TRS cable. And then I have to give them the whole spiel of like, well, if you're going to do that, you should go and get a tour gear. So I
course.
just got to, and the recipients of said pedals are also going to get a Tour Gear Designs TRS patch cable.
That's awfully nice.
It is. Thank you. Anyways, our supporters deserve it. So there you go. So thank you to Tour Gear Designs. Oh, by the way, if you need one, you're like, wait, I need a TRS cable.
I need two of them.
Or patch cables, or both.
Everything.
You can go to tourgeardesigns.com and save 10% off your entire order.
How do you do that?
By using the guitar knobs,
All lowercase,
one word,
all one word.
lowercase,
In the coupon code, I believe.
or
it
the
is.
coupon code. Either way, and you're gonna save 10% off of your entire order. So, thank you to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our Four on the Floor. Jared,
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3.
Four on the floor.
All right, Zach Holloway of Zero G. What is your Four on the Floor?
My first one, Ibanez DE7.
Whoa.
It's my all-time favorite delay pedal. Probably my favorite pedal
Ever.
ever.
Awesome.
Interesting.
It sounds so good.
Is that that's digital?
It is digital.
delay.
It has kind of like a digital and analog switch. It says delay and echo, but the analog, faux analog sounds really, really nice.
That's cool.
Now, what does that's one of those.
It's tone lock, yeah.
Yeah. It's got the tone lock on it, but it's weird because aesthetically they're kind of sucky.
They're so it's just
They're
it's
really-
it's just a box,
It's-
like the most box shape of any.
It's the most impersonal. The only way that could be
the-
even more impersonal if it was early computer beige. that would actually might be retro cool.
I feel like they were that color when they started, and they've just now aged to this
Gray.
gray.
This is just
A washed out.
gray. Yes. Well, anyways, I'm glad you like that pedal. They also have the kind of knobs that have the round, like the button top, the rounded.
You push them down.
They
in like a
push
spring,
down,
yeah.
but there's something about that style knob that also is like, it's not a favorite. The Marshall, like the Governor and stuff, had their remake of those had those knobs on. All the Marshall knobs at that point in time had those same kind of knobs. Also, kind of just sort of. Interesting.
But I think you're
But it
missing.
sounds awesome.
You're missing the whole point of being able to push the knob down into the pedal so that you don't inadvertently change the settings.
Oh, I totally
that
understand that. That's genius.
That was earth shattering. You can tell how important a feature that is by how many pedals still use that today.
exactly. Yes, the people ran away with that. Well, they locked it down. Nobody
Well,
else could do it.
Obviously.
Yeah, and they're like, we need to do something new.
Cease and desist.
Yes. No, but from what I've understood about people who own the 7 Series pedals, the 7 Series Ibanez pedals, is that the ones who do have them really love them. But you have to get them and start to love them before you can love them. That's kind of
you
the
also
problem.
have to be okay with the switches not working after a while, and or know how to replace them.
Yeah,
Totally fine.
yeah, it's okay.
It's a feature.
You get it on.
It's a
and
feature.
Just some armor all.
It's
All you
fine.
need is armor all. Okay, how about number 2?
The BBE Busta Grande
Okay, yeah.
is a really
That's an old
nice
favorite.
boost.
Yeah.
It's one of the cleanest boosts I've ever heard.
Yeah. And it's in that sort of like old big box because why not, but not really a real
I think
case
they
for a
did
big box.
smaller one maybe, but yeah, there was a big. It was ugly.
Yeah, orange. Yeah. But yeah, that's a favorite of the country folk too.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
And also BBE was one of the early transducers, undersaddle transducer manufacturers for acoustic guitars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, Barkus Berry.
Barkus Berry Electronics. Am I right? Is it electronics?
Yes.
Hey, check me out. Number 3.
Long time.
It is either electronics or equestrian. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Can it be a clone of something I built? That's
Did you build it?
yeah.
Then you know the
No.
answer to that.
Is that a no?
That's a hard
Just
no.
just say the thing that it's a clone of, and
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Todd will make peace
I
with
didn't
it.
change
Appease the
anything.
court.
The Love Tone Doppelganger
Okay.
sounds really good. It's really useful. Has a lot of sounds.
What does it do?
It's phaser.
Yeah.
It's a dual phaser. The LFOs, you can get one or you can get a second one, kind of modulating the first one. And it kind of, you can do it in and out of phase with each other. Really cool.
That looks like a pedal that has a lot going on.
So since you admitted you built this one, I guess I'm kind of curious. Is it 2 phasers that then sum together at the end, or is it like 2 LFOs that control the same phaser?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Huh.
Interesting.
I have a biface. It probably does the same.
Oh, there we go.
Here he is
There's
with the
biphase
Mutron
mention.
again.
Mootronics.
It's awesome.
Right on
Jiminy
schedule.
Christmas.
Now,
You can ride that pedal. It's so big.
that's a
Ride
vintage.
it into battle.
That's called vintage and rare. Those are listing for like
Yeah, I would.
$1,000.
I would never be able to own a real one.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You can come down to Tennessee and check mine out.
But that's okay.
We're not
You don't-
talking
you
about
don't
my
have it.
face, Jordan.
You don't have one. Yeah,
I do.
You got a convertible. I got a camper. you should check it out. Come on down. All right. You
can.
What's number 4?
I'm gonna go with another old one, the DoD 250 gray.
Oh, great
box.
choice. Great
Got
choice.
Gray 250 gray box. The DOD. Well, that brings the DOD thing around.
Yeah. And what is that type of effect?
Overdrive.
Very good. Is it
That's it.
loud?
Sometimes they call it a preamp.
Ah, and that's an interesting. We talked about that a couple episodes ago, because people are calling things preamps.
Because you can put it before your amplifier. But
That's
not,
right. But technically, isn't every pedal a preamp?
Yeah. I have a preamp delay.
Now, you said the gray box?
Yeah, I don't know like what the values are a little different. I don't know. I can't say exactly how it sounds different. but I really like it.
Yeah, it's reverse. It's the reverse of. I was thinking, like, it was like light gray and all that. So it's basically almost the identical inversion of the yellow box. So it's got
so.
yellow,
Yeah,
yellow
yellow.
silk screen on top. I got you now. I got you. I'm following. I'm following. What turned you onto that?
I don't know. It just sounds really good.
Okay.
I really like the 250. It goes with anything.
Is there a difference
You can-
do you find between the gray and the yellow?
It's subtle. I don't really know how to explain it. I just really like the.
Is it a tone thing? Is it a distortion?
Yeah, the paint
thing?
changes the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's
Come on.
why the gold clones sound better than the silver ones.
Yeah.
That's
Everyone knows
exactly
that.
I mean, obviously.
Cool.
Plus, the goop is different.
Yeah. Now, actually, Elad Mizrahi of Gear Ant actually put the yellow and the gray, I believe, in the same box.
So the yellow jacket is a 250 on one side.
Yeah.
And it's the gray box, and then it's the MXR distortion.
That's
plus
right, that's
on the
right,
other
that's right.
side.
Which is same circuit, different values.
Yeah.
I'm glad we have John here tonight.
I know. Me too. Anyways, well, hey, that's really cool. Thanks. I still every time I see one of those old 250s come up, I'm like, ooh, and then somebody's like, I'm gonna want maximum dollar for that. I'm like, damn it, I gotta
I
find
had a
somebody
yellow,
that doesn't
I
really
think.
know.
DOD one.
Well, anyways, that was a lovely stroll down Four on the Floor Lane. Thank you for sharing those with us and yourself. Maybe that was the first time. I'm not really sure. But we need to find out a little bit more about Zero G. That's what we're doing right now. So we're going to spend the next 4 minutes talking about.
That's all we got left.
There's been a lot of good discussion.
The music world this week has taken far too long, so you only have now 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, a few more than that. But anyways, so Zach, you're called Zero G. What is that? Where's that come from?
They're weightless. They float.
Yeah.
Look at this thing float.
You can use them in the International Space Station. They just plug right in.
Just sounds cool. Zero gravity.
Yeah. My friend Greg and I started this years ago. We were just kind of doing clones and putting decoupage and collages on the boxes. We both really like sci-fi and space.
Cool. And it matched up with Z and G.
Yes.
Yes. I put that together. You can use that. It's fine.
No, I didn't even realize it at first, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cease and desist.
Okay.
C&D.
Yeah.
C&D pedals.
I didn't really realize that at all.
No, I mean it was. I've realized that for been years now, but
Yeah. That's cool. Now you provided us a pedal to play with over here. What do we have in front of us?
this is the Fuzz After Tomorrow.
Okay.
It's based on a bad movie.
A bad movie?
Agree to disagree. Thank you very much.
A great bad movie.
Okay. Which is called
The Day After Tomorrow.
I'm just checking. Yeah. Yes, you're going to have to provide most of the answers to the interview in order for this to work. No, so you have the floor. Tell us all about why did you make this? What's the big deal about it?
I started this one when Champion Lucky announced he had like a contest called End of Days Fuzz Challenge.
Cool.
It's not really like a official thing.
Nothing about Champion Lucky is official in any way.
And
shape,
I don't
or
even
form.
know how many people are actually really doing it, but so I just thought I'd do name them after bad disaster movies. It's based on the SRS EQ exciter.
Okay.
Which is basically a fuzz face with like a buffer at the end.
Okay.
And a cool tone control.
What else did you add? Anything else you're adding to that?
Yeah, there's a toggle switch for the sets the bias.
Okay.
Three positions, and then an extra momentary switch that further biases it.
So if you hit that momentary, you get a more bias or a different bias altogether?
More, extra, a little more gating. It's most noticeable in the top position, which is the future tense. Middle position here is like a more of a smoother, less biased, and the bottom one is like your classic fuzz face.
Right, there you go.
Kind of
Okay,
bias.
cool.
So when you're saying it sets the bias, is that meaning it's adjusting the voltage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to the transistor.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I found I like the vintage the best out of all three positions.
So for those that may not be as familiar with the term bias in reference to the pedals and the sound, tonally, sound effect wise, what is that doing?
So if you a correctly biased fuzz pedal is going to have that sound, that fuzz face sound. And if you misbias it by giving it less voltage, it'll get a little more sputtery, gated. Yeah, kind of.
John?
I mean, what bias does is it affects where your signal, what I would say, where it's floating between the voltage rails. So somewhere between 9 volts and 0 volts, you've got a little sinusoidal wave floating. And if you adjust the bias one way or the other, you're going to move where that signal is floating. And depending on the rest of the circuit,
not the height or the peak of the wave,
right? But just where it is physically
level-wise.
going to be level wise. So say you've got a 1 volt peak to peak. We'll get nerdy here for a second. You've got a 1 volt peak to peak, and your bias is right at the center. Well, then you'd have, around the 4.5 volt mark, you would have a 0.5 volt up and a 0.5 volt down.
Right.
Well, if you change the bias, you're actually shifting that same 1 volt peak to peak either up or down on the voltage rail, and depending on the rest of the circuit. Particularly with transistor-based circuits, it dramatically affects how that sounds, because you might clip in the transistor, or it might not, part of the signal might not end up getting into the transistor, so you get the sputtery sound, or it might break down to the point where it just doesn't pass signal at all. So,
right, really, and the term gaty comes to mind too. It's not letting the signal through.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So sometimes you get a fuzz pedal and you're like, you really have to dig in to actually get a sound out of it. That's super, super, super radiant bias. Yeah. So what you started off with a fuzz face bass, right? Is that one of your favorite circuits, or what was the genesis of choosing that one?
No, the EQ exciter just sounded really good. Just an interesting take on the fuzz face. It's that circuit is kind of an old one.
Yeah.
Now too.
Cool. And anything else about that particular pedal that is unique, exciting?
This one has a faceplate that's a PCB printed, circuit board, just like what's inside.
Yeah.
And it has like an ink layer and some exposed copper for like that metal.
That is a cool look. It's
and John
Hokusai.
actually helped me when I was trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks, John, for doing that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of feudal Japanese history and art and literature and stuff.
The wave.
And so I was like, I pulled it. I'm like, I know that. Famous, very, very famous, arguably one of the most famous Japanese prints ever. But
why don't you talk a little bit about the end switch, the momentary switch that also adds I'm assuming it adds bias.
Yeah, so that just further, misbiases it to, give a momentary kind of extra sputtery. I really like stuff that has a momentary stuff you can use
I do too.
in a live setting.
Yeah, and that's unique to fuzz pedals. I mean, I haven't seen that, using a momentary like that before. So I think that's kind of a cool feature.
That'd be a great way to let a chord die out. Like if you're rolling like a nice smooth fuzz and then hit that and it just like dies out. That I think that'd be a cool effect.
Easy for you to say.
I know. Long day. So what else? How did you kind of fall into the said building of these devices?
I've always loved guitar pedals, and it kind of got on my radar a long time ago. And for a few years, I was kind of like, man, that's really cool. Wish I learned how to do that. And then my friend Greg came back home to Columbus for a work thing, and he was like, hey, I just built a pedal. You want to build one? And I was like, yeah.
and then it started.
And that was it. Uh-huh.
Cool.
So I got my start building a lot of stuff on strip board, which is like metal rows, and you can make cuts in them and put links in them to kind of. It's a really DIY version of circuit boards. There's a site called tagboardeffects.com that I used for years. Just 'cause you can look up something. That sounds interesting, and I could build it.
You don't have to
the
be
parts.
an electronic engineer to do these things. You just have to have an idea.
If you can do paint by numbers,
Yeah.
kind of thing, and pick up stuff as you go.
Yeah. What has been the most intriguing part about the whole process to you?
Probably just seeing how far you can go, what you come up with that you didn't think of, or what kind of sound you can get out of pedals that you haven't really done before.
At what point do you run out of your work area and go tell your wife the great idea that you come? I mean right? I mean that's a big part of it.
She just stares at me like I don't know any of those words, so I text all my friends.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you have any builder, I guess, inspirations? People who have I guess, helped you along the way, or that you would like to, are trying to at least match or emulate?
Pretty much everyone. There's a lot in Columbus, like John here, Rare Buzz, my friend Zach, Malay's Forever Customs.
Sure.
Phil over at Catbox Customs does some really, really good looking stuff too.
So we talked briefly about DIY stuff and how that got you into pedal building. I know you've recently introduced the kind of the pizza box effects. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because I just think that's cool, like having because it's different effects, right? It's not just the same effect on different colored boards. You've got like multiple. It's fuzzes or
yeah. So for my Instagram subscribers giveaway, I did 2 PCBs. And I made like a little pizza box and made them pizza shaped to put them in. One is they're both fuzz, but one's fuzz Peroni, and the other's called 3 Cheese. They're just some vintage fuzz clones.
So are they actually working, or is this a box of stuff?
No, you can build them. They're for sale. And I did a one-off.
So it's a DIY kit.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
Circuit board.
Gotcha.
Not a full kit, but.
Oh, I see. It's an actual circuit board. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking that it was like a box of components or something like that, but it's an actual. Yeah, that's clever. Okay.
And then it comes in like the little pizza box.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, I really like doing circuit layouts. It's probably my favorite part of pedal building for some reason. I don't know if it was like a calculator game or just a computer game, but where you had to arrange the cars to get the car out of the parking lot.
I love that game.
It's like that.
Yeah, that actually started on not a computer, which was actually like We actually have the analog version of it, and you follow the card, and you put the thing in this way, and then you have to like move them out. Love that game.
It's very cathartic.
Yeah.
PCB layout. I mean, you lose hours though. That's the problem. You'll sit down and it's just like 3 hours are gone.
Yeah. So tonally, I guess do you model your ideas after people that exist that play, or like would you be like, oh, I really like John Mayer's sound or whatever, and I want to make something that kind of sounds like that, or
Not any specific guitar players like tones, but there's probably like certain songs that I've, was. I guess I could say Incubus.
okay.
When I first heard that, he's doing those like phaser delay volume swells.
Yeah.
That was one of my first times I really was like noticed effects and
Eureka moment.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I love phaser and delay. That's still probably my favorites.
Those are your two favorites. Are you going to be doing something in the phaser delay game, or?
Maybe I'd like to. I don't really know where I'd start with phaser.
Yeah, phaser's a tough one because it's a relatively singular thing, and it's not necessarily a tone-based thing that you can really
Yeah, it can be.
manipulate.
I
Really.
like doing like a subtle phaser
Yeah.
instead of a chorus, kind of for a movement.
Do you have you like a lot of different options on things, as opposed to like a phase 90 when it's just like, well,
I really like the phase 45. The 4-stage phaser is more subtle than the phase 90.
Yes,
Mhm.
I would agree with that. I'm not a fan of the phase 90.
It's really whooshy.
It's too much. It's too much. Yeah. So what's next in line for you with this?
Just come. I try to make whatever ideas I have.
Okay. All right.
Quit his job, go full time, start a band.
I'm just a stay-at-home dad, so this is
Good
my
for you.
job.
Hey, he's halfway there.
Perfect. So in the world of the of pedals and people who are building them, I think one of the things that when we are talking to other builders, the thing that you end up chasing is you want to get your tone, you want to get the effect right, but you also there's a desire to do something that people haven't done, and not only just with either their tone or maybe an effect, like you threw in your momentary bias, which is a really cool idea, but also aesthetically,
Aesthetic is big
it's
deal to me
so hard to do something. It's like, well, you can make it design different, but it still might be a silk screen on a Hammond box. Is that okay? Do people push beyond that? Lots of companies have done their own bending and manufacturing and stuff to try to make it feel different. And I've heard a lot of people say actually that they're like, if I walk in and I see just a bunch of square boxes, I don't care. And I'm like, to me, I think that's just personally, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But I understand the idea that if all of the components are the same, and the only thing that's different is basically the color, okay, I can get there a little bit. But based on that assessment of things, what elements are driving you to do your own voice with your pedals?
The aesthetic is big with me because you're playing them, you're looking down, turning the knobs. Like so many Boss makes some of the best pedals, but they just say what they are on it, and that's kind of it. And sometimes you're not really inspiring you to create kind of music or do something weird.
Yeah, I think that's an astute observation.
It does put off a lot of people. Some people they want it to look as utility as possible.
That's Jared. Yeah, Jared doesn't want anything on his things.
Huh?
Yeah, on your pedals and stuff.
I like everything on my hot dog. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better not like ketchup on the hot dog.
You know what? I actually stopped using the pedal attachment gizmos, the whatever, because I changed. I don't really gig out anymore, so I unfortunately. But I do still change pedals out on my board
These things?
for the fun of it. So
You mean
Well.
Velcro? Is that what you're talking about by pedal attachment?
no, I have the. I don't remember. Explain it, Todd.
Dude, all of us are looking at. None of us know what you're talking about.
I think that's why we were looking.
Oh,
mean
remember
the
the one I
switch
used
cap
Velcro
things?
on it and I wasn't supposed to. You're supposed to buy those.
Oh, the little clippy things.
Oh, the clippy
The little
things.
sticky
Okay,
things.
You
so
have
you're
a
not
temple
using.
board. You have a temple board, and you didn't buy the temple mounts.
That's right.
That's
I
where
still
they
have
get
those
you.
temple
They
boards.
give you the board for free, but you got to buy them out.
Yeah.
It's like
You
Polaroid
pay
cameras.
$1 billion for the
Or
little
some
thingies.
Velcro.
You can never have enough.
Yeah.
So I don't use them. I just stick them on the board and hope for the best.
Cross your fingers.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Zach, for sharing your insights on your pedal. And
Thanks for having me.
I think people will be enticed to try out the momentary bias. I think it's a really good idea. We are going to
Gas
Hop in
up.
the- gas
we gotta
up the El
gas up the
Camino.
El Camino. We used a ton of gas last week.
That's right.
Gas
That's right.
has come down just a touch, so
Yep.
probably best we do it this week and not
Yes.
last.
So we're gonna swing on by and see what Jared has going on. Jared.
Oh man, it's so good to see you guys in the El Camino to play a little game of Would You Rather? This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by Jared Brandon.
Who?
Me.
I'm familiar with
Myself
that guy.
and I. Yeah. So anyway,
Is that the guy in Nashville?
supposedly, you're walking down the street and you're like, holy crap, it's April and I got to pay my taxes and I'm running out of time. So you see the YMCA nearby, you walk in and you go to the sauna and you have a little talk with Maury Sline.
Do people do
you're
that? Or are we in the 40s? What is this?
Are you wearing
So you're
a,
talking to
Are you wearing a fedora?
See, you got the YMCA to go have a sauna. What?
yeah. Oh, they still have saunas at the YMCA, let me tell you.
All right. All right.
So you're talking with Maury Sline, and he's a bookie, you know. So he's a booking agent, and he says, "Listen, I got 2 gigs for you, okay? 2 gigs.
I was really
The
hoping
first
you were going to
gig-
go with horse racing here, but
The first gig I got for you is down in Florida in August with Murphins and Magic Tones all day at Disney in the heat, outside in the heat at Disney."
Okay, whatever the
And
other
you're
one
wearing
is.
the old school polyester. You're wearing the old school polyester suits like in the movie.
like
And
like band tuxes.
big
like the ones
time.
they still
It's
have.
gonna be hot.
yeah,
Hot. It's gonna be horrible.
yeah.
Or gig number 2, he's got a spot for you at Macy's Thanksgiving Parade as Spider-Man guitar player in the Super Friends band. But you can't wear a jacket or anything.
Oh,
You just have to wear the tights. And it'll be 10 degrees
Chicago
out.
wind
That's
and
it.
Thanksgiving with just a lycra.
Well,
Body
Macy's,
New York,
well, the Macy's
Chicago,
parade would
same
be in New York.
Oh yeah,
Todd would be in Chicago.
What's the one in
Here's-
Chicago? There isn't one in Chicago. They do
Yeah,
that.
it's called the
do a-
Macy's Day Parade in New York.
Why was I thinking it was in Chicago? Okay, anyways. Oh, New York.
Yeah,
The wind
well,
in
it
New
doesn't
York.
matter what
With
gear
nothing
you
but
have,
a
it doesn't
lycra
matter. You're not-
bodysuit. There you go.
You could be playing the best guitar in the world. It doesn't matter. You're going to be either sweating and miserable in Florida in the polyester Murph and the Magic Tone suit, or you're going to be in the Macy's Day Parade as Spider-Man playing the guitar, freezing your nads off.
That's
Or
awful.
whatever.
That may be the
Or
best
boobs.
Would You Rather we've had.
Wow.
That's
There is not a good solution
Whoa.
in either one.
the only thing
Or
that would
good
make that
outcome.
worse is if you have to have a Strat. Then both.
Maurice Klein strikes again.
Oh boy. Wow, that was that was highly imaginative, Jared. Thank you for sharing that. Tony, go ahead.
There's just no good answer here. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jared.
You got to pick one.
All right. I'm going to do, I think I'd rather sweat than freeze. So I think I'm going that route. I'm going to do the what is it, Mervyn the Tones or Mervyn
Murph and the Magic Tones.
Murph
Watch
and the Magic
movie.
Tones.
What movie?
Blues Brothers, you doink.
Oh, Blues Brothers. Okay, yeah.
That's what the band's called?
I don't know.
Murph and the Magic
I really got that
Tones.
movie.
That's what
Man.
like a sixth of the band is called.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay.
I sent you a picture.
He sent you a picture, Todd.
Oh,
Yes, Todd, he did send
That's
a
amazing. I'm doing the show right now, so I'll do this.
That's my answer. I'm going to go with that because I don't like cold. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Well,
sweat.
you get to play
Yeah.
with Tom Malone and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Let's go to John.
So, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, without even a doubt. I mean, when you were talking about Florida in August in the heat at Disney World, that like you could have said anything and that would have been the answer.
Yes.
Because that like I am not this body is not designed for
I would have
Florida
played
heat.
a deli slicer at that point.
So, and I mean, being from Jared, you know this, being from Northwest Ohio, there's really no amount of cold you can throw at me that's going to bother me. So,
Right.
Now, having lived in Minneapolis for several years, I can attest that there is cold.
but you're from California though, so your baseline is quite a bit sunnier than ours.
Anyways,
But yes, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, without even a doubt.
Okay.
all right, interesting. Jared, about yourself?
Definitely the Macy's Day. Yeah, I've been up to Wisconsin and Minnesota in the winter, and the kids are playing out on the playground at 5 degrees.
Yeah.
And we drove by and there they are outside. I'm like, oh my God, look, the kids are outside. It's 5 degrees out. Didn't faze them. And I would rather be cold and not feel my feet and maybe get whatever sick rather than I cannot stand tropical weather.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. The rum's always gone. You're just sweating all the time.
Why is
It's
the rum
miserable.
gone?
Because it is. The rum's always gone down there. It just,
Interesting.
He's not
everything
wrong. It's a
seems
fact.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Well, you just can't fall down or something at the Macy's Day Parade because somebody might come up and do the old Empire Strikes Back tauntaun maneuver on you and climb inside you.
It might be me. I think I'm small enough I can fit in, Jared.
Zach, how about yourself?
I got to go down to Florida.
Yeah.
My hands wouldn't work. They just stop moving.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Didn't really think.
I wouldn't
can't
even
do the
care if
cold.
my hands didn't work.
So, well, if it's that hot, you just pass out and then you get out of the
Just
gig.
use an Ebo.
Yeah. Excuse me, bro.
Or a sustainer.
This is really, really hard because the heat, just the piercing, roasting, blazing heat is something I do not like. I really, really don't like it. There's all kinds of heat. There's dry heat. There's wet heat. There's all this stuff. But there is a different kind of heat, a radiating heat. That's the thing. Radiating is the thing that I can't take, where I'm just like, I gotta find some place. I'm gonna die. That's the way it was in the summer. I went to visit the Georgia campus in summer. And I was literally, I'm not even kidding you a little bit, I was running from tree shade shadow to tree shade shadow because I didn't have a hat. And I thought the skin is going to burst into flame. I hated it. I'm not doing that. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to go to Macy's too. I'm going to go to Macy's too because then I'm just going to pay some other clown $20 to hop in that suit and I'm going to go inside. They'll never know.
I'll meet you there. Yep.
All right.
Always
Well, that
fun.
was a pretty fun one, Jared. We need to thank a few people really quick.
That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a very special group of people that we love to thank.
And they're going to get
He's-
pickup shop stickers soon too.
Ooh.
I love it.
Ooh, I love that.
Stickers.
Do I get
got a
one?
handful
Do I get
you.
one for
Yeah,
my door?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jared. These are our executive producers. Now, what's an executive producer? You might be asking yourself. Well, an executive producer makes this show possible. Each level comes with a... Oh, how do you become one? Gosh.
Tony, how do you become an executive producer?
Well, I'm glad you
What does it
asked,
say?
John, because you just go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast. Each level comes with a special thank you gift package. But there's one thing more, Jared. What is that?
You get to have your name on the thing.
You get your heavy
Red-
name
red on the-
red on the thing.
Red.
Red.
That's right. Read it. Read it. Read it.
So that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Helverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, James Hart, Matt Hart.
Matt Hart.
It's Matt Hart, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemolero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly from Rare Buzz Effects. I'll give him an extra plug today since he's sitting here staring me down. Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Brazen, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology.
what?
Yes. You are correct. Don Kloss, Greg Randall, Gregory Randall. Let's call him Greg. We're buds. Brett Hogarth, Eric Hammer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, and Andrew Dahan.
Oh, my. Thank you so much.
Wait, Todd.
All right.
Because there's another special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. This special group of people has a fez that they must wear whilst listening to the podcast.
And at the same time.
And at the same time. And they also have to drink a special orange concoction that only Todd knows the secret recipe.
I'm looking at it right there. It's the worst bourbon ever made.
Are you saying that Cleveland bourbon whiskey is the worst bourbon ever made?
Yes.
Okay.
That's terrible.
Goodbye, sponsor.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Igareda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Jerusik from 12th Hour Devices,
Yeah.
Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. Eddie Serratos, David Poe, Billy Spitfire, and Kevin B.
Yes. Thank you so much, one and all, for helping to keep this show afloat. Also, you threw out Tim Nowak. That guy's been cranking out all kinds of great stuff. I need to get him back
it's
on the
insanity.
show. Talk about all his new stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a warning to you, Tim. Thank you so much. As I mentioned, we need to find out where people can go buy the things that you're making, Zach.
Zero G IOD.com.
Zero G IOD.com. And Tony.
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the stuff that I do. I'll be happy to take very good care of you. Send me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. Pickguardian.com.
Oh, gosh. John?
So you can find me at rarebuzzer.com. That's rare buzz with an ER at the end. At rarebuzzer on all the social media platforms. Instagram's the best place to find what's going on.
Perfect. Jared?
No. You can find me at jared.brandon. No, dang it. You can find me at You can find me at
Jared.Allen.Brandon.Jared.Brandon.
Pretty much.
You can find me at Jared.
Go watch Jared's movie on Gibson. There, do that.
I'm on the Gibson show.
He's on the Gibson show.
But if you want to message me on Instagram, jared.allen.brandon. On Instagram.
Right. Okay. You can shoot me an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com, or direct on Instagram @guitarknobs. We would love to hear from you. Tell us what you're doing, anything that you particularly like or found of interest or even hate about the show.
No.
Yeah, don't do that. I mean, but do or don't.
It'll hurt Todd's feelings.
Yeah, it won't, but it might. But anyways, hey, your Would You Rathers. That last one we did, that was a pretty good one. And
see if you can top it. I doubt that you can.
Bruce Bacon's been trying awful hard lately, and all kinds of other people. So we want to thank Zach for stopping by. Thank you, Zach.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Continued success with your pedal company, Zero G, and new pedals to come. And hey, everybody out there, have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Wow. This got off the rails.
I mean, wait. What's with
I had
clap?
mute off because I had to fart. I had mute on.
Jeez.
Because I'm
Speak
running
English.
the test.
Okay.
Yes.
So
The test.
So it's controlling the actual voltage. Tony's dying. Yes, he's actually dying.
I need more bias.
Yes, you do need more bias.
My daughter's in the band and they're making fun of her. Make them leave.
Hello.
And, did you get him, Jared?
Hello.
Stay-
Hey,
One more.
Zach. Him. I'm
Okay.
here. Hello.
What? Huh?
Is it a
Welcome,
K?
Zach.
CK.
CK.
Do you have any idea how many Zachs have been on the show?
Probably
Zach
all of them.
I never want a vacation in a tropical paradise again because it's hell.
Well,
Humidity down there, I can't get. It's way too humid.
Yeah.
It rained all day the day of the wedding, and I had to wear the suit that day, and it was the most humid and the most test.
Yes, we can hear you testing.
I'm not going to say his name because I love him. He's a good friend of mine, but we used to make fun of him.
Point the finger, and then we want to hear him one at a time.
But don't pull his finger.
Don't pull my finger. Tell us. It's a lie of the season.
Did you just throw
That
the
day
suit
was
away after
extra
you were done?
Peel
Man,
off.
I wanted to. I just bought it.
You know what would have been hilarious is if it would have cleared up, all of a sudden gotten hot, and the thing would have shrunk up on you.
It already looked like it did. By the time I put it on, there was just there's a guy.
scissors. He's gonna
blow.
suffocate.
He's gonna blow. Has he taken any time to show?
The barbershop version? What the hell is this?
Hey,
All
Shad.
right, anyways.
Yeah, well,
might
let's
help.
not get carried away.
Yeah.
Lay off the ice cream, Jared.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Get Hot.
Hey, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs.
Do you want me to just do it?
Everybody good for bathrooms or whatever? Yeah, okay.
I just went in my pants.
Yeah, perfect.
There was just a window instead of a wall that you couldn't see through.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.